locked down, she cries for release. Hopes buried, but she won't cease. Chains clatter against broken dreams. Blood and tears in repressive streams. Struggle burning in her eyes. Justice cries while freedom tries. Free Karen Reed, sound the alarm bell. Fight the fight, don't race on hell. Free Karen Reed, break the chains now. She won't rest till she's free somehow. Crowds gather in the midnight heat. Voices rising in the dirty street. No more silence, freedom's plea. Hands united for terrorist decree. Steel bar shadows, they are home. This fight ain't one she'll do alone. Echoes ring as we lift her name. Victory kiss in the lips of flame. Free Karen Lee, sound the alarm bell. Fight the fight, don't race on hell. Free Karen Lee, break the chains now. She won't rest till she's free somehow. Free Karen Lee. Crowds gather in the midnight heat. Voices rising in the dirty street. No more silence, freedom's plea. Hands united for Karen's decree. Steel bar shadows ain't our home. This fight ain't one she'll do alone. Echoes ring as we lift her name. Victory kiss in the lips of flame. Free Karen Lee, sound the alarm bell. Fight the fight, don't race on hell. Free Karen Lee, break the chains now. She won't rest till she's free somehow.
Oops, I had the mute on. Hello, everybody. How are we? Your first live Dragonfly. Welcome. Glad you caught us. Hello, Debbie Blair. Supermod in-house. And Joanna, hello. Scotty, good to see you too. And welcome to the... Oh my gosh, the wind's going to make a noise on my roof today. Welcome to the... Which membership did you grab? Welcome to the mate membership. Peaches. All right. We don't have our guest on board yet, but I think he's on his way. So what I thought we might do while we're waiting, so that we have something to do while we're waiting, is read through Howie Carr's list. Hang on, that's not it. What's his list called again? Karen Reid, prosecutor Hank Brennan's mangled vocabulary. How does that sound for a start? What do you reckon, guys? Have you all read it yet? Shall I pop it up on the screen and have a giggle? Hey, Britt, thanks for joining us. Tracy, Micah. Oh, hopefully we'll be talking about that today, Scotty. Hopefully we will be talking about that. On that topic, I think we also have Aidan secured, not sure when, but secured for a chat so we can talk about the corruption, the ongoing corruption in Massachusetts. You would love to see me on camera. Guys, I'm always a train wreck at this hour of the morning. Like, seriously. Oops, let me just get some things a little organized here. All right, camera. Hello, everyone. So, what happened in Haverhill, Massachusetts? I can't say it. Haverhill? What happened in Haverhill? Tell us. We could be on a little bit of delay. We probably have a little bit of delay here. Let's go have a look at Howie Carr's thing. Some things working over here. Look. Yeah, it's not really that early here. It's 10 a.m. So I think it's 8 p.m. yesterday. Where you are, Scotty? Oh, thank you. I love you guys too. I can't handle seeing myself on camera. I actually go blank in the brain just goes bleh as soon as I can see myself. All right, let's have a read of this. This is pretty funny stuff. We all contributed. A bunch of people on X. He put the question out. Here's a few things that I remember that Hank got wrong. And everyone replied, and so he's got a few of our notes here. So for $566,000, the taxpayers might have expected a little more effort from hammered Hank Brennan. For that kind of money, for just 9 months, couldn't he have worked a little more competently at trying to railroad Karen Reed for a crime she obviously didn't commit? Maybe he was overconfident. After all, the hack judge was totally in the satchel for the frame job, at one point sustaining 49 consecutive Brennan objections to the defence's questioning of a single witness. At trial kickoff, Hank was handed some home field advantage and a 3-touchdown lead, but he ended up getting absolutely blown out by halftime. It wasn't even close. I haven't read this yet, by the way, guys. I just knew it was coming. So if I'm stumbling on the reading, it's because it's my first kind of brush over it. So, good morning, Goldfish. How are you? Good to see you. So, Kim, shucks. No, it's not. Whoops, I got the wrong comment. It's not that early. 10 a.m. is fairly late in the morning, but I'm on American time, so this is actually my bedtime right now, like close to my bedtime. As soon as we're done with Kurt today, I will probably hit the sack. So, all right. So, where were we? Brennan's courtroom performance was so dreadful that, unlike last year, this time Judge Auntie Bev couldn't just summarily disregard the jury's acquittals and declare a mistrial, but she freaking tried. Howie, she tried. We heard them when they were reading out the 4 time zones here in Australia. We heard them when they were reading out the jury's decision. They had both. What's his name again? Jim and Judge Bev like tripped over their freaking own jaws when the jury said not guilty to count 2, because they were expecting them to say guilty on count 2. It was the whole reason Judge Bev wouldn't answer them on count 2. But anyway, where were we? This time the verdict was, as Donald Trump might say, too big to rig. In memory of our wasted $566,000, let's look back at what Norfolk County taxpayers got for our money. Here are some of Hank's greatest hits. For starters, he kept calling the victim John O'Keefe. John Keefe. Oh, he kept calling the victim John O'Keefe, John Keefe. He also said he was a Canton native, but O'Keefe was from Braintree. One of his witnesses was Heather Maxon, and he called her Maxon. Of course, it was nothing personal. In court filings, Brennan misspelled his own name as Brennan. That was my contribution, everybody. One of the defense lawyers was Robert Alessi, and Brennan insisted on calling him Alessi. Brennan squandered another 400 grand in public funds on the cartoonish experts from Aperture, Shannon Burgess, and Judd Welcher. Their buffoonery quickly became the butt of jokes. Pardon the pun. But Hank defended their what's their names to the hilt in his closing. As much as you want to make fun of him, Shannon Welcher found the key. Can we quote you on that, Mr. Brennan? Mr. Brennan? He's doing it too. Harry Carr's calling him Mr. Brennan too now. That's funny. I'm loving it. All good style, and thanks for popping in. Keep the sound on, or put your earplugs in. That is wild. Australia is a much smaller continent than the US and only has 4 time zones. Right. That's right. The only way you can screw up the time zone is by making an appointment with someone in Western Australia. The rest are pretty close to each other, especially during daylight savings. So, where were we? He usually referred to Karen Reid, the defendant, but occasionally by name, Miss Weed, as he called her. Here are 2 of my favourite Hank quotes. There is no constitutional right to usurp the rules of evidence. The timeline in this case is beyond dispute. After the verdict, defense attorney Alan Jackson said his team had gone to great lengths to understand the science to make sure they weren't rolled by prosecution experts like that composite Shannon Welcher guy. Hank had no such concerns. He had the judge in his pocket after all. But Brennan should have at least tried to grasp the science. His complete lack of any prep work provided much of the trial's unintended mirth. Look how much he charged for all the prep too. I showed you the spreadsheets. Was it yesterday or the day before? I showed you the spreadsheets. It's all trial prep. But his lack of prep is what spoiled the whole show for him. So, hello, One Giant Lie. Thanks for joining us. Where are we? But Brendan, yeah, right, we got to that. The TV crowd's favourite moment may have been when he referenced the occipital bone in the skull, occipital bone in the skull. Only he called it the occipital boner. I saw someone type that. There were some really good suggestions in there and some things that cracked us up. He thought a subdural hemorrhage was subdermal. He was corrected on that howler by former RI medical examiner Dr. Elizabeth Lapisoda. So then he asked her who was best qualified to determine the cause of death. The person who was best qualified is a physician, she answered. So Brennan pounced. A medical examiner wouldn't cut it, in your opinion. A medical examiner, Lapisoda responded with a sigh, is a physician. Watching Hank mangle everything he touched, it was hard not to stifle a laugh, or as Hank would say, stifle. He pronounced cartoid as cartoid. Hey, that's how I say it. Incisors became incisors. Hematoma became hebatoba. He described a paramedic fighter as a parameric. The Glasgow coma scale came out of his mouth as Guzma scale. his grasp of his grasp of modern technology was just as tenuous. Over and over, he called the Apple Health out something else, usually healthcare data. He fumbled the description of the software in Karen Reed's Lexus. It's TechStream. He kept saying it was a telestream. He called thumb drives or flash drives zip drives. Hash values became hashtags. It was like he was back in Bush 41. He occasionally flashed back to the glory days of his hero, cocaine-dealing serial killer Whitey Bulger. He questioned one of the crooked state cops about a fellow lame-brained trooper by the name of Nicholas Guarino. Only Hank called Guarino Nicholas Giant Turco. That was a Boston FBI agent who, according to testimony, took cash payoffs from the mob. Whitey always spoke highly of Doc. I don't know how you say that. Gian Turco, which is why he was top. Gian Turco. That sounds Italian. I don't know. Is it supposed to be sounding Italian? Yes, we absolutely needed the laugh. And thank you, Kyle, so much for the super chat. I was agnostic into trial 1. How quickly they lost me. Sight plus wounds lost me immediately. 31 years in Dallas and thousands of motor pedestrian crashes. I remember we had a few conversations about this, Kyle. But I'm glad you saw the light. Hank Brennan is his own worst enemy, isn't he, Gregory? Okay, so Jean Turkey. That's how you say it. Jean Turkey. All right. Where are we? Jean Turco. Jean Turco is how you say it. Anyway. Which is why he was top of mind for Hank. On another day, Hank delved into the frostbite suffered by John Keefe, only he called the frostbite freezer burn. You know, like some wayward wise guys got in the movie Goodfellas. Supposedly, Hank is a great lawyer, or should I use his words, supposedly? The list of words mangled by Hank was endless. The defense team kept a running list for their own amusement. Anonymously became anonymous. I can't even say it the way Hank says it. Anonymously. Nefarious is how you guys would say it, was nefarious. Data was data. Potatoes. Cache was rendered cachey. Coup was coop. Chamois became I don't even remember chamois being brought up. Plethora came out as plethora when he meant to say eventually he would usually sputter inevitably. Same with legalese and cop lingo, you know, law enforcement, Lauren enforcement. The debris field was in Hank's phrase, the debris field. The debris field. An unintended death became unintended. Maybe it was. He always liked to corroborate the evidence. He complained about the lack of. I find it hard to get my mouth around all of this. He complained about the lack of reciprocal discovery. He called the plastic taillight in Karen's Lexus SUV glass. He thought the pavement on Fairview Road was concrete. It was asphalt, or in Australia, bitumen. One day introduced himself to a witness with "Good afternoon," and it was 11:45. When talking about speed, most people use the word quickly. Hank prefers fastly. Here was another of Frank's strangely worded questions to a witness. Did you think of a way that you look below the top of the snow without unresting the scene? Despite his alleged erudition, to use yet another word he doesn't know the meaning of. Well, I didn't know that word either, to be fair. Hank Brennan is not exactly cerebral, or as he pronounces cerebral. Chain-smoking career prosecutor Adam Lally could have handled this second trial too, and lost badly, but just like he did the first time. And Lally would have saved the taxpayers $1 million. One final thought: stay safe. Nobody needs a fractured occipital boner. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Kurt is not here yet. I don't know where Kurt is, but I sent him the link. He has the link in 2 different places. So yeah, I don't know where he is right now, but oh my gosh, that was a good laugh. We can now see why Hank Brennan didn't want Arca to testify. Hank Brennan got ripped off. Blue paint man. Anyone who watched my 80 series video with me fixing my headlights, replacing my headlights, will note that I used the blue paint man's color. He's coming. He's coming, Double Ben. I don't know where he is right now, but he's coming. So, I sound drunk. That's because I'm laughing my guts out at Howard Carr, okay? Lighten up, buddy. Enjoy the show. If you're just going to come here and insult us, we're probably going to boot you back out again. So, God, there's so much going on that we can cover while we're waiting for Kurt to rock up. We've also got, oh my God, these people are bloody complaining again. Let's go to this one here. Karen Reid lands a lucrative book deal while witnesses face continued harassment after acquittal. I would say, if you're going to go on a PR tour and make yourselves public figures, that you're probably going to face some public criticism. That's what being a public figure is, right? Yes, just getting into that right now, Chloe's mum. But truth is not harassment. Exactly, Peaches. I agree. Plus, they're the ones doing the PR tour right now, like claiming victimhood. So people are jealous of Karen. So shameful, right, Boda Bob? Exactly. And Karen looks better than all of them. So Hank's Boston accent is typical, and the pronunciations, right? But I think he has a bit of a lisp, and I think Howard Carr was having a go at his lisp as well. I don't know if you call it a lisp, but yeah, it's not a lisp. With a lisp, it's generally you can't say your S's real good, but with Hank, it's It's R's. He pronounces them as W's. So I think that's what he was having a go. So interesting. Anyway, so this is part of Kerry Roberts' beach session. Exclusive images. Life is moving on for all the key players except John O'Keefe's family. After a Massachusetts jury found his former girlfriend Karen Reed not guilty of all homicide-related charges in his death outside a midnight house party during a blizzard on January 29th. O'Keefe's niece and nephew, who he took in after their parents died, are orphaned a second time. Reed has a book deal and a TV series about a saga in the works, but she's also facing a wrongful death lawsuit, which requires a lesser standard of guilt to hold her liable. The civil team filed a motion to dismiss earlier this week. I'm getting the impression that Fox News is just doing Fox News shit, right? That's whose website we're looking at, by the way. Read the Mailman part twice. It's hilarious. JC says, that article title says to me the author is dumber than rocks. I'll agree with you on that, JC. Yes, it's a speech impediment. Exactly, chicken. Exactly. Hank never had speech therapy as a child. Possibly not. Hank don't ride roller coasters. He rides well coasters. It's easier to type than it is to actually say. Kev. The Fox News report on this is awful. Fox News gonna Fox News, right, Micah? It's like how Diva said garage, and BPD Commish Cox says, I have no idea. Yeah. The funny thing is the Boston accent is kind of how the Aussie accent in a way. Because we don't pronounce our R's either. We usually just do them as ah, wah. An outside investigation by the FBI found no alternate suspects. What? Where do you think they got all the alternate suspect material from, idiot? Who is this idiot? Wait a minute. Who's this fucking idiot? Michael Ruse. Oh my god. This is a ruse. I'm sure it's a ruse. Where do you think they got all of the alternate suspect freaking information from, idiot? They didn't dispel allegations of corruption. You wait. You'll be eating those words very soon, I'm guessing. It wasn't a blizzard until after his body was removed, all part of the police state lie. Exactly, Scott. Bulk of the storm was the following day, 9 to 3 p.m. Exactly, Scotty. Turtle Boy touted a major announcements for later in the week in his last live. Yes, he did. A major one, not a Marjo. So what's a Marjo announcement? A major announcement later in the week. He did. I got a feeling I know what it is, but we will wait and see. We do have Turtle Boy. We have confirmation he's going to come on our show. I'm just waiting for some dates. And we can hit him up with some questions about any major announcements he's got coming up. I don't know when he's going to do the announcement. Obviously, he's not going to pick my show to do it. So, a major award. Oh my God, I hope so. I hope he gets an award, Micah. That would be awesome. Hey, Edie. How's it going? All you're going to get is me laughing my ass off for at least up until this bit anyway. So, all right, let's continue. I got a few lined up, Debbie. I have TV lined up, waiting to lock him in on a date and time because he's just so busy. Oh, you're quoting a Christmas story. Gotcha. That's why you had quotes around it. I've got Andrea Burkhardt. I can't remember what order we're in, but I've got Larry and Andrea organized. And I've got, just let me know when you've worked out the schedule. Cool. All right. I've got Larry Foreman, Andrea Burkhardt. I think it's going to be like Turtle Boy Andrea and then Larry Foreman or something along those lines. They're all tentative bookings that I've got up at the moment. So if you're looking at your local time on those videos, it's probably going to change. Everyone is really busy. Andrea's out for vacation. Other people I've reached out to are also on vacation, so we're still waiting on a lot of replies. So they're all good ones. Everyone who appeared in the mashups. So this is really our attorneys react appreciation tour. So yeah, I've got a few others. I've got notice. I've sent emails and stuff out to the others because, as you know, there must be like 20 different attorneys who appeared in the mashups, and I can't do them all at once. I've got to like space it out, and because it's all on American time, and I've still got to be awake through Australian time to get some shit done here. It's all going to be spaced out. People, like I said, some are on holidays. Some are harder to get hold of than others. So, yeah, we've got some stuff coming up, but it will be all of the attorneys who have time and can fit us in. They will all come on and say hello, and we can all thank them for helping us not tear our hair out during the trial. So that's the main thing we're all after here. Have you asked Brother Counsel and Ian Runkle? I have reached out to Ian Runkle, but I haven't. Brother Counsel and a bunch of others are on the next shift list. So I got up to Ian Runkle, and then I don't want to name everyone that I've invited because some of them might not want to come on my channel, and I don't want them to feel obligated or feel bad if they don't or they haven't got time. So I don't want to rattle off the list of who I am and aren't asking. Who I do ask that gets back to me, that's who I'll tell you about. So oh, you shave your head so you don't have any hair to pull out. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, so let's go on with this stupid fox story. The Albert family, former owners of the property where Reed and two other women found O'Keefe dead under a sheet of snow, just celebrated a wedding. And Jennifer McCabe, a key witness in both Reed's trials, and one of the women with Reed that morning, is the new bride's aunt. And at the wedding, attendees pitched in to hire private security after Reed supporters allegedly circulated the venue online. They did? I didn't see it. These guys are so full of shit. Like, they will just tell the tallest fucking lies to make themselves sound like they're the victims. Did any of you guys out there on X see that circulated, the wedding venue circulated online? Because I didn't see it. I go through and read X every day. I wake up every day, even if you haven't heard from me for like weeks. I'm still waking up every day reading X to see what's going on. I had no clue where it was, and I lived down the street. Exactly. Thank you, Laurie. Like, oh my God. Like, these people just tell so many lies. Question, was there any law tubers who believe the Jen McCabe story, aka the prosecutor story? There were law tubers who said, well, she comes across more believable this time, but none that actually said that they believe her story. Just that she was coming across more believable. So, exactly, from the flat earth crowd. I totally agree, JC. Nobody cares. These people are acting like we fucking care. All we care about at this point, all we care about is that somebody in fucking Norfolk County pulls their finger out and finds out who killed Officer John O'Keefe. That's all we care about. We're not fucking following these people around to spoil the freaking wedding venue. Anyway, Kerry Roberts, a friend of O'Keefe's who was also present with McCabe and Reed when they found his body, told Fox News Digital she is among the witnesses facing an ongoing harassment campaign, along with the Alberts and McCabes in the O'Keefe's immediate family. Bullshit. Shall we all do the freaking soccer chant? Bullshit. Chloe's mum, I don't really care, but I didn't see anything. They're attention seekers, exactly. So there isn't a shade of blue that Jen could wear to hide her true colours. She's not for me, thanks. Me either, Kylie. Me either. The only thing I saw circulated on X was people commenting on what they named their drinks, because it was pretty harsh what they named their drinks. I don't even know if it was true, if that's what they named their drinks. I wasn't at the wedding, so I don't know. I don't feel bad for Kerry. She lied to put someone in jail. I don't feel bad for her at all. Whatever she's getting, she deserves. Don't feel bad. Like, yeah, I've got no friends either. I mean, I've got a few friends online, but I ain't got any real friends either. But you aren't going to get me to stand up there and lie to a jury just so I can have a friend. Like, that's a dumb fucking reason. If you're going to go lie to a grand jury because you got no friends and they'll be your friend if you lie. Dumb reason. That's fucking high school mentality. Someone posted the specialty drinks. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought I saw. Karen Reed's guilty and one named after Tristan's German Shepherd dog, which is just a Jack and Coke, right? That's what I saw. I certainly didn't see anything about the wedding venue. So, as you know, one of the jurors came out flat out lied about some of this shit after trial 1.0. So, all these liars be lying. I don't know why they're making Jen McCabe a villain, she said in the phone interview. All she did, didn't Kerry, aren't you supposed to be the one sitting here complaining that you're the villain? You just said you're the one getting harassed. Like, now you're saying, but it's all about Jen McCabe's the villain. All she did was answer the same phone call I did. Karen called her. She didn't call Karen. It's so stupid and bizarre. Yeah, just like you. You two are stupid and bizarre. The victim's mother, the victim's mother, Peggy O'Keefe, is dealing with harassment of her own, including a woman seen dancing on video. Oh, so you're going to put this woman back on Fox News who has mental health issues, who's actually supporting you guys. From what I understand, this woman here was actually a supporter of theirs. All right, being alone versus prison for lying. For a non-friend, alone wins hands down. Tracy Glover, you're exactly right. Give me the fucking koalas any day. They could have been like Lucky and Barros and told the truth. It was their choice. Precisely, Debbie Blay. I don't feel sorry for a single one of them. They had no compassion for Officer John O'Keefe, obviously. Agree, Miss Noma? The dancing woman has nothing to do with the case. She has some mental health issues. Thank you, Joanna. That's what I've been saying. Drag this poor woman through the mud to make it sound like you're a victim when you're actually victimizing an actual victim. Like, what planet are these people on? Bloody hell. Anyway, Robert said the Norfolk District Attorney's Office told her to stop contacting their witness advocate after the trial. Oh, ghosted! Ghosted by Morrissey. Even if strangers continue to throw things at her house. Bullshit, Kerry. Nobody even knows where you freaking live. Call her family murderers. Kerry, it's not your family. Like, duh. They aren't your family, Roberts. You're not a McCabe. All they did was lie to a grand jury to indict Karen. Exactly, Amber E. Hello and welcome, by the way. Good to see you. Jen McCabe declared John deceased during the 911 call before getting out of the car. Looking at John, she totally knew something. Totally, JC. Deva's career is destroyed. It's over. Yes, agree. We put our asses on the line for 3.5 years, 2 trials to help the state of Massachusetts, and you're not going to help us when we're being harassed? You can't even prove you're being harassed, bitch. How about you prove it? How about you show people throwing shit at your house? Wouldn't you have your fucking phone out photographing shit? Oh, that's right. We're in Massachusetts. Phones don't work over there unless you're butt dialing. It's not worth it to put my family through ever again and not be protected at all. It's sick. It's absolutely sick. Who's going after your family, Kerry Roberts? As far as I know, do we even know who her family is? I know she's got a other half who left her, like, because he's smart. I did read the court papers, and she's one of those women who's just like weaponizing. Oh, he hit me, when she was the one doing the hitting, or they're probably hitting each other, but she's doing it so she can keep the kids away from him. So I don't even know why he sticks up for her. This woman is fucking twisted. Oh no, now she's crying. The Foxy's have to put her crying. There's an ongoing witness intimidation case against Aidan Kearney, a Canton blogger. No, he's actually a journalist. Dumbos. But this is exactly what I was posting about yesterday, a Canton blogger. The reason the media won't say anything about Aidan's case is because it's just like Julian Assange. He's not media like us. He's a different breed. He's not the same as us. We're proper media. So, is anybody even surprised that Fox News is going to take that stance? Because I'm not, considering what they done to Julian Assange. And I might add that all these see you next Tuesdays use Julian Assange's material, and then after they used it and got all their freaking money and views, then they ditched him and said he's not one of us. Like, fucking assholes. Anyway, end rant. But while Roberts is not one of his alleged victims, she says she faces rude comments and other harassment from random members of the community. Well, you lied to a grand jury and your community is upset with you for doing that. So don't come out in public and act like you're a public figure and then cry because you get what public figures get. Like, we all get it. All of us that put ourselves out there in the public, we all get lashback. We all get people complaining at us. I mean, I just do the sensible thing and switch them off. Just turn the other cheek, crybaby. After baseball games, kids on the team opposing her son might tell him, "Free Karen Reed." Well, how is that harassing him? That's just a statement. They're allowed to make a statement. Free Karen Reed is not insulting you, not saying that you're a bad person, not throwing shit at you. How is that harassment? She filed a complaint against her mailman who allegedly muttered a vulgarity into her doorbell camera when he saw a Justice for John O'Keefe sign at her house. What was the vulgarity? If you think Free Karen Reed is harassment, I'm assuming his vulgarity was like, you lied? You lied to a grand jury? Is that his vulgarity? Oh my God. Now someone else delivers her letters. Oh, because she's a Karen and had to complain to the mail service. My message to people is don't ever be a witness. If this happens to you, you're not going to be protected. Witnesses are never promised protection. I don't know why you think that that's the case. Oh, that's right, because that's what Morrissey promised you. I've been a witness in 2 court trials now. No one promised me protection. What about you guys? You guys been witness in any court trials and got promised that you would be protected? Damn, AJ's car. I know, it's all right, eh? Here I am getting around this old friggin' 30-year-old 80 series. Nah, I'd still have my 80 series any day. I bet you he spends more money fixing that fucker than I do. I bet you if 2 trees fell on his car, it wouldn't have come out as good as mine did. It's a replica Cobra. I think that's what it is too. Well, if you don't get a subpoena, I guess you have a choice of the matter, maybe, maybe not. Right, if you got a subpoena, you have to go, right? You don't have a choice. You have to go and testify. So I've been subpoenaed twice, and both times I wasn't offered protection. In fact, the first time I was a witness for something, the cop who subpoenaed me got right up my ass because I wouldn't say what she wanted me to say. I'm like, no, I'm just saying what the truth is. I get it. You want a certain twist on everything, but I ain't twisting, baby. And then she was like, "Are you calling me a liar?" And I'm like, "No, I've just got Asperger's. You just think I'm calling you a liar. You're just taking me the wrong way." But anyway, I didn't get protection. I actually pissed the cop off that subpoenaed me. So anyway, yeah, who gets promised fucking protection? And the fact that you guys are sitting here saying that you were promised protection, that says everything to me. That you're all up there in Karen Reed's trial because someone promised you protection, not because you were there to tell the truth. Reed's lead defense lawyer, Alan Jackson, returned to Los Angeles in time for the 4th of July holiday, where he was seen cruising in a Shelby Cobra replica. I can't even say anything right this morning. Powered by a 351 stroker. He described as a fire-breathing dragon. So fucking what? What is your point? He's not allowed to drive his fucking car? It's taking a while to come down, he told. He actually spoke with Fox, but I'm slowly getting back into my rhythm. He already has another deadly crash case lined up. The defense of Fraser Bohm, is that how you say his name? Bomb, a 22-year-old from Malibu facing 4 counts of murder in a high-speed wreck that killed 4 sorority girls from Pepperdine University in October 2023, which, from what I understand, that part of the highway is a black spot that keeps killing people. I don't think he's alone there. I think where he is alone, from what I'm understanding of that case, is that he's the only one charged with murder. So maybe the council should get out and fix the fucking road. Looks like Morrissey has dumped them all. Right, exactly. But Aussie, didn't you know that's how they do it in Massachusetts? Huh. A court of law is accurate. They can get all the way out here with that talk. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. No one will protect you. Huh? Well, unless you become a literal protected witness. Why do you need protection? Exactly, because you're out there doing the PR circuit, trying to pretend like you're totally innocent. You weren't at that party. Well, fair play for Kerry because she wasn't at that party, but she lied about it. So you get what you're given. You get what you're giving out. Hang on, I am literally going to be a witness in a trial this summer, equivalent to Jen McCabe's situation. Real talk. Literally nothing that they are trying to normalize about being a witness in the US. Thank you, Kylie. I feel justified. Hello, Al Dente. Kurt's not here yet. I don't know where he is. We will hang out here till he gets here. He's now 50 minutes late. Hello, Kurt. Where are you, buddy? Let me just check some messages just to make sure. He's AWOL right now. So, but we'll just hang out here till he gets back. It's not like we're going to run out of things to talk about. There's heaps of shit going on. That road is a death trap. Right. And you know what? I think like we have certain roads like that in Australia, and they put money towards fixing it. So when you come up on a stretch of road where you see a lot of crosses on the side of the road because lots of people have died there, within a very short time they'll get rid of all of those crosses, and or they'll put up guardrails, or they'll fix the road somehow and put all the crosses on the other side of the guardrails or whatever. They're not trying to be disrespectful. They're just saying, okay, we've got enough crosses here now. That's a death trap. And they'll fix it. I mean, it's not always a fast fix. They don't get to it, before 50 people die. But obviously they're getting to it a lot quicker than people in America are. So I don't know what you call them, but it's usually our town council that takes care of each. They all take care of their own local roads. So I hope Karen sees the socks off them all. Me too, Carol. Me too. Morrissey doesn't want 50 phone calls and texts from Kerry anymore. Can you blame him? I mean, like, she's such a Karen. DA Meatball Morrissey spent nearly $1 million just to prosecute Karen Reid. It's outrageous. Indeed it is. Do you think he has the time mixed up? You know what, Debbie? Here's the funny thing. I wouldn't blame him if he did, because I got mine all fucking mixed up too. Because I got just the 4 I've booked, one's in Massachusetts. I've got PT, EDT, EST, and I run out of freaking headspace for how many time zones there are. So it's not going to surprise me if he does have the time mixed up at all. I am not going to hold it against him. I'm pulling the old bait and switch to get some views. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. He was booked in. He really was booked in. He really was booked in. All right, tell me, have I got the time wrong? Is it currently Sunday in Massachusetts, Joanna? It's currently like 8 p.m. in, oh, sorry, not Massachusetts, Texas. It's currently about 8 p.m. in Texas, right? Let me have a look here. He says, I can do Sunday. Yeah, it's currently Sunday in Texas, right? I didn't look it up. It is. Cool. Thank you, Joanna. Well, I fell for it. We all did, Jen. No, I think someone's got their time mixed up. Somebody's got their time mixed up. Yeah, some towns wait for a certain number of accidents at intersections before installing stoplights. Right. It's the same here in Australia. Cal is broken. I think you mean California, right? Unless families sue the state for not taking care of the roads. So unlikely it will be fixed anytime soon. Yeah. See, I don't think they can sue the state here for the roads. But they do just wait for, the crosses to mount up on the sides of the roads, and then they're like, no, it's probably about 6:53 in Texas. That's all right. Boston time is 2100. I'm also on US Central Time at 7:53 p.m. right now, Sunday evening. Right. I don't know. He did check the time. I sent him the video link, and he did check the time on it. So he's probably just held up or got the time mixed up. So it's okay. Yes, Sunday, Massachusetts. So Texas would be Central Time. Texas is I fucking forget. Central. 7:56 p.m.-ish in Texas. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Kyle. It's Sunday, 7:54, so hot. So unless he has a pool, I'm guessing he's inside. It's all right. It's okay. He might be taking a nap. Exactly, chicken. Exactly. I'm not too worried. He'll be here. And if he's not, we just book it for another day. We just book it for the next day. Texas is Central Time, so it's 7:55. Gotcha. Oh my God, it did my head in this week trying to work everyone's times out. Because, like this Andrea, she's Pacific time. And then there's Larry, he's EDT. And then there's Total Boy, he's EST. Texas 2 hours behind Mass. Gotcha. Lawyers are always like, right, Carol, like, what are we talking about here? Well, of course the lawyers are always late. Anyway, I'm not too worried because I would be late for my own funeral. It's not like I'm judging. All right. So yeah. Michael Proctor, former homicide detective with the Massachusetts State Police, lost his job but may still resurface in the upcoming murder trial of Brian Walsh, who was accused of killing his wife, Anna, outside Boston. Her remains have not been found. Proctor worked that case too, and Walsh's lawyers have argued his presence tainted the investigation. That trial is scheduled to kick off in October. That's what you get for being a bunch of assholes. State police fired Proctor after he sent lewd texts about Reed to his friends, officially faulting him for sharing law enforcement sensitive information with its civilians and for drinking on the job. And how about drinking on the job and driving on the job and having his gun out on the job while he's drinking and driving? 27 time zones. No, Australia has 4 time zones, I think it is. I listened back to America probably has 27 time zones. I listened back to you and Mandy last night. You both agreed 7 p.m. Texas time, which is in 5 minutes. There you go. I kicked off too early. There's a woman who died in custody in Brooklyn, Mass, which is also Norfolk County. Her father is very upset and wants answers to have that happen. A woman who died in custody. That's shit. I know, Scott. It does my freaking head in. It's hard enough to book one of you guys in America, whatever state you're in, let alone trying to friggin' organize you all in the same week. So I don't even know what gymnastics I have to do to be awake at what hours just yet. I think it's midnight for Larry. 17 hours in the future, exactly, JC. It's like riding in the front seat of the planet while I'm riding near the back. Oh, there you go. Well, it should be like whether they die in whether someone dies in custody or not in custody, someone murdered them, right? What Aussie animal scares you the most? Aussie animal scares me the most. Funnel web. Funnel web scares, and brown snakes because they're really aggressive. Or taipans probably, and funnel webs. They scare me the most. They're not really animals as such, although I guess they are. They're in the animal kingdom, aren't they? All right, so I'm getting bored with this because it's just telling us all this stupid shit that we already know. Reed's defense alleged to cover up. Hank Brennan got paid 566 for his work. You got the numbers wrong. That's a reasonable sum for a private lawyer, except he's not supposed to be a private lawyer. Oh, Mr. Jack Lee. Now I know what crap we're reading. A funnel web kangaroo or spider? It's a funnel web spider. It's not a kangaroo. It's one of the most poisonous spiders in Australia. One of the most deadly. Brennan put in long days. Blah. Like, I'm done with this article. I'm moving on. Fuck them if they want to talk with Jack Lou like he's some sort of fucking decent person or something. Knows what he's talking about. You're a victim of time drift. I love it. Thank you, Miss Pause. How could anybody assess the evidence and still believe she's guilty? I don't get it. I don't get it either. But what it is, Joanna, this is what I believe it is. It's indicative of the American schooling system. Like people who don't get basic maths, statistics, and, science, physics, all that basic shit you learn in high school. That's who don't get the evidence, basically. So that was actually going to be one of my conversations with Kurt. Little chat about the state of American mathematics. It was on my list of things to talk about. He didn't even know the case. All he did was watch the documentaries and pull the clips. There was a lot of things that he said that where I was like, did you even watch fucking Trial 1.0, dude? What do you think of the folks insisting it was a different shoe? I'll laugh in their face. Don't even talk about the goddamn shoe. It doesn't matter. The trial's over. It doesn't matter if it was a different shoe. People who lack critical thinking skills think she's guilty. That's exactly where I'm coming from. But it wasn't just critical thinking skills. It was just basic math, like counting backwards in the on the key cycles. How bad does your math have to be if you can't count backwards? Like, seriously. It wasn't hard to count backwards in the key cycles and understand that Karen Reed had already handed the car over on that key cycle. It was not in her custody. It was in the custody of the police. That was basic counting backwards. I don't understand how people can still sit there and go, oh, the key cycles proved it. It's like, what? Can you not count backwards? Brennan said in the pre-trial that he hadn't watched the first trial. Right, but everyone expected at some stage he was going to catch up, like that he would have had to have watched it to catch up, right? Or at least read the transcripts. That's the way they do it in Massachusetts. Yes, Quizzy, Will is adamant, and I'm just not arguing anymore. The trial's over. Let's not argue about it. I tried to show you a bit of science, trickery of light, science. How come half the moon's black and half the moon's white? Just some basic science. So it's okay if they didn't get it. And I'm not going to argue with anyone about the shoe. I kind of went with the defense's strategy. If that raises reasonable doubt without them having to actually say anything that sounded dishonest or that they weren't sure of themselves, and the jury came to that decision themselves, then let them. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't actually see the point in arguing it at all. But I did want to just show you guys the science because we had fun. We had fun playing with the lighting and working out, we had to listen to the testimony of the CERT team like multiple times to understand the positioning of all their lighting and look over the media was there sort of during part of that search that they were doing. So yeah, it took us a while to sort of work out how to recreate that lighting positioning in the 3D software. So we had fun doing it. So a lot of people didn't have fun because they were just arguing, whereas we had fun because we were trying to recreate it. So where are we up to? If Brennan had watched the pre-trial, how many billable hours would that have added? Right, lazy. Brennan held a masterclass at acting like he isn't standing inside a dumpster that is literally on fire. Oh my God, JC. Oh my God. Like, so much of what Brennan was doing was performative. And it's hard to judge him because, AJ's performative too, but he's performative in a skill level kind of way. Whereas Brennan was trying to do a performance, but it wasn't in a skill level kind of way. So I don't know that I think there were too many details that he got wrong. So no, I don't believe that he read all of the transcripts. I think he read some key I think he read some key transcripts, key witnesses, but I don't think he read them all, and I don't think he watched the trial or all of the transcripts. That's all the trolls say, the key cycles and the data. Yeah, but you certainly have to be able to count backwards first before you can say the key cycles support any fucking theory, right? If you can't count backwards one number at a time. To be fair, Americans have no 24-hour clock and have their date half backwards. Exactly, Coke Fairy. So no wonder they get confused. I don't know who's got their dates backwards. It could be us that has our dates backwards. I don't know. Yeah, that's exactly my point. They lack some schooling. I exclusively use the 24-hour clock. I don't get any fucking choice. Like, everything I'm trying to friggin' do time by is all 24 hours anyway. I set my phone and then it reboots itself and it's back to 24 hours. So, um, yeah, nothing was collected in a solo cup. I think the defense concentrated more on the medical and science this time. Right, but you know what? Even though they put more effort into it, I got it last time. I already understood that shit last time. I actually didn't need an expert to come and tell me that the physics of John being hit by a car in reverse is not going to make him go over there on the sidewalk. I didn't need an expert for that shit. Or that if he was hit by a car doing 24 miles an hour in reverse, it was going to break some bones. I didn't need a doctor to tell me that. He's performative in a skillful kind of way, like in a Hollywood lawyer skillful kind of way. But it was truthful. And this is the thing. This is something that I posted on X the other day, because I believe Karen Reid's lawyers, because I don't feel like they were trying to weave around bad facts. So you see a lot of lawyers will duck and weave the bad facts and make up all these stories about the bad facts. Like, for example, Brian Koberger's lawyer, she's like ducking and weaving all the bad facts, like weave, duck, weave, and he's like, yeah, I'm guilty. And it completely makes her look like a liar. So I can't believe anything that Ann Taylor said now, because Brian Koberger said, no, I'm guilty. I can't believe anything that there's a lot of lawyers out there. I can't believe anything that they say, because they're just ducking and weaving bad facts. You can see them doing it, and it's quite obvious that they're doing it. I didn't feel that Karen Reid's team were ducking and weaving any bad facts. I felt like she faced the bad facts head on. She said, yes, I was drinking, and I didn't feel like I was, she said I was buzzed, but I didn't feel like I could not control the car. So they faced the bad facts head on. And I feel like that's the way you need to do it. You need to be honest with the jury. Face the bad facts and be honest. And I felt that because they did that, that I could rely on their facts. Like, if they brought out a fact and we were all like jaws on the floor, like, holy shit, we didn't know that. We could count on that as being a fact. A, because Bev let it in. And B, because they were already, facing the bad facts head on and not trying to dodge shit. They weren't trying to be dodgy. So, and that's what made you listen to what they were saying and actually trust in some of what they were saying, right? If any of the stuff that the defense came out with was not a fact and was lies, Judge Bev was not going to let it in. End of story. It's the fact that what she did let in was actually truth, and she couldn't deny it, is the reason that she had no choice but to let it in. So, yes, Scott, we all believe that that's the case. She was handpicked by Morrissey, indeed. So, he's the kid standing on the risers picking his nose. Indeed, Micah. I laughed at Welcher when he scoffed that he's never stepped in front of the Lexus 24 miles per hour. But why not? Wear a helmet and you'll just be fine. It'll just be what is it? It'll just be a flesh wound. Get up, you. What is it? I can't even remember the phrase now. From was it Monty Python? I think it was Life of Brian. I can't remember which one. Oh, the Holy Grail. It's just a flesh wound. Get up and fight, you yellow-livered coward or something like that. My tongue's all tied today. US Marine Corps family here. Military time is our go-to. Yeah, of course. If I understand that. First thing the US colonizers did to piss off the crown was switch out Taint style. Yeah, that's right, because England does it the same way as us. If she never would have gone to look for John, everything probably would have been different. You know what would have been different? It would have been Lucky on the stand. It would have been Lucky on the stand because they set this up to be a snowplow accident. It would have been Lucky. I fully believe that. Like going back a couple of months before trial 1.0, I put out a timeline on just the things that we knew, like the texts that they exchanged and stuff that had been made public. And it really looked to me like Lucky was going to be the one who ended up being put on the stand at the other end. So lily livered lizard, that's it, Carol, thank you. Yeah, lily livered lizard, get up and fight. I couldn't remember it off the top of my head for some reason. It was one of my favorite. I always loved Monty Python. It confuses the shit out of me. Yeah, all of us. It is but a flesh wound, right? Posted a link in Discord. All right, let me grab that link in Discord. Oh yes, we just read that. That was the Fox News article that we were just reading. Thank you, Kev. Much appreciated. Oh my God, I'm absolutely loving whatever you are reading from. I need to back up. I'm an English teacher and I love words, and to have all of this summaries in one place is heaven. It's actually Howie Carr quintessence. It's a Howie Carr article. I think you're a little bit behind us, but it's Howie Carr. So, what's that over there? We're still going with the Monty Python quotes. So, yeah, I don't know where Kurt's gotten to. That was my call sign for Lally first trial. Lily livered Lally. Nice, Gregory. Nice. Let me see what else I've got racked up here so that we can go through. I was still on page, I think we were on page like 19 with the Linda Stanley stuff, the Barry Morphew trial. Have you all been watching what's going on with the Barry Morphew trial? Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. I actually want to talk about it with Kurt, but he might not want to talk about it. So, there's a couple of things here I've got lined up for Turtle Boy. So, for those who don't know, Turtle Boy's 5,000 pages of discovery the other day, you remember in court, we were all listening to the prosecution. What's his name again? Special Prosecutor Cosgrove. Remember Cosgrove said he's got 5,000 pages of discovery, and he was all so proud of himself in front of Judge Dulan because they're handing over 5,000 pages of discovery. Turns out like 4,000 pages is blank. I'm going to hazard a guess that this is going to be a great litmus test if you all want to know what side of the fence Judge Dulan is sitting on at the moment. Is he going to be a Bev or is he going to be his own boss? Because at this point, if he doesn't sanction Cosgrove for handing over for lying to his face in court and handing over 4,000 blank pages, if Judge Dulan doesn't come down on them for that, then I'm going to hazard a guess that Judge Dulan's just going to keep kicking the can down the road, and Aidan's going to end up in the same position that Karen Reid was. Like, you have no choice. You can't make Judge Dulan like fucking be a proper judge, you're just gonna have to go through a trial with a fucking crap judge, just like Karen Reid had to. He took a page from Hank Brennan. Oh my god, you guys are cracking me up today. Cosgrove, aka vacuum cleaner that sucked up a quarter. Good on you, JC. He probably did. I said it was very casual. There was not not going to be any script or anything, so he probably did. So, yeah. So I'm a little bit worried about Judge Dulan. Which judge is it? I think it was Judge Dulan that looked at the motion to dismiss. So actually, Scott, since you're here, let me ask you, did Judge Dulan drop the wiretapping charge, or is that still up? Is Aidan still charged with that? Was that dismissed or not? The wiretapping. Like, I know that it's been addressed in Bettero's letter, but I don't know that it's because Aidan's still up on these charges. I just thought that he might be mentioning it because it was just part of how we know Kate was up to shit. But I can't remember for the life of me, and I was trying to find it before I hit the live stream button today, whether the wiretapping one was actually dropped. I can't remember. Was dismissed, sorry. I'm not sure if that one was in the motion to dismiss. You see, I can't actually remember either. I was trying to find it. Indeed, Swiss Miss. No arguing there. The reason I'm asking about the wiretapping charge is because if wiretapping not adjudicated yet, right? So they haven't asked for the dismissal of the wiretapping charges. Isn't the wiretapping charge part of the new indictment? See, this is what I'm trying to work out. And the reason that I ask is because it's another litmus test, right? If they haven't asked for a dismissal of the wiretapping charge yet, then that's going to be another good point to sort of to measure where Judge Dulan is on that one, right? Yeah, Scotty doesn't know either. All right. It's going to be another like litmus test, right? Because here's the thing with the wiretapping charge. The day that this all went down, it was Christmas Eve that this all went down, 25th of December or Christmas night. I can't remember if it was Christmas night or Christmas Eve. But what happened was Aidan uploaded the recording straight away. And then I think they took his phones away from him. So he doesn't have the original to prove, what date he recorded it or whatever, or that the original recording has a hash value to show this is the original recording and it's not edited, because they took his phones off him. It was Christmas Eve. Thank you, JC. And but he did upload it to YouTube, and you can't change timestamps on YouTube, right? So what he uploaded to YouTube is like the 26th was when he uploaded it, and the first 10 seconds of what he uploaded to YouTube is him saying, "I'm still recording," and her saying, I know. What Kate recorded and got him indicted on, she cut that 10 seconds out of the recording. She could only have got that recording from Aidan because he's the one who recorded it, right? She could only have got that recording from Aidan. He's got proof that he uploaded it to YouTube, and the date is the 26th, and it's got the first 10 seconds on it. I don't know if he's got the original hash verified recording because they took his phones off him. But if Judge Dulan doesn't see that the original recording on his YouTube account doesn't match the recording that Kate sent in to have him indicted on, then Judge Dulan's just doing an Auntie Bev and kicking the can, basically. Well, I mean, shit, Karen Reid was trialed twice, had two trials, two criminal trials, in the amount of time it's taken for Judge Dulan and all this fucking around even get to they're getting some fucking discovery. So I don't even want to put him in the same category as Bev because at least Bev was trying to get shit done. That's a good question, JC. That's a great question. Her recording was 30 seconds. TV's recording was 15 minutes. Yeah, right. I guarantee the trooper totally gave KP the recording to edit directly from Aidan's phone. They didn't have a warrant for yet. Oh my God, I didn't even consider that. Fucking hell. But anyway, Aidan has proof. That's why he uploaded it to YouTube. He has proof that there is that 10 seconds at the front where he told her he's recording and she said, I know. Yeah, wrong wiretapping charge. Right. There is two. I forgot about that. Sorry. And I was talking about FB. So, yeah. Why would Aidan give her that recording, though? He didn't give it to her. She would have gone on his YouTube just like we all did. As soon as it was uploaded, we all went, wait, what's this? And then we were all sitting there with our jaws on the floor listening to it going, holy fuck, something's going on. And then next minute, Kate's all over fucking Twitter going, Aidan's going to be arrested. There's a warrant out for Aidan's arrest. And we're all still sitting there listening to the recording going, what the fuck is going on? But, you know, we're all witness to this. I don't know if you guys were, like, around then or knew it was happening, unfolding then, but I was. And as soon as it hit Aidan's channel, I was listening to it straight away. So because I'd already seen Kate posting on X that he was going to get arrested. So Bedero knows that, Aussie. He knows the video was edited for indictment. That's right. But my point is, if the judge doesn't dismiss it, then he's in on the whole fucking. Then he's in on the clown show. That's my point. All right, because Aidan's got proof that there's this 10 seconds additionally exculpatory in the recording. That 10 seconds where he says, I'm still recording, and she says, I know. That is exculpatory. And if you remove exculpatory evidence from an exhibit and put that in front of a grand jury or a judge, that is evidence tampering. Basically, it's a crime. So if Judge Dulan doesn't dismiss, just recognizing that that's a fucking crime right there, then he's obviously no, Jen. Hang on, let me finish my sentence first before I go to the next one. Next thought. Judge Dulan is obviously just going to run a clown court just like Bev did. If he's not going to recognize that what they've done there is illegal, right? It is illegal to voice record with advising the person or people being over. No, without. It's illegal if you don't advise them. He told her, I'm still recording. She acknowledged he's still recording. She didn't tell him to stop recording her. She didn't say she didn't want to be recorded. She acknowledged that he was still recording. So that's a different thing, and it's illegal. It's illegal to it was legal for him to do the recording, for two reasons. Because he knew he was getting set up and he had to record it, and because she said, "Yeah, I know you're recording." So she acknowledged that he was recording. And then Judge Dulan, looking at the original recording and hearing the exculpatory bit on the front that says it's not wiretapping because she acknowledged it, if he doesn't dismiss the wiretapping based on that alone, then he's doing a clown show court just like Bev. That's what that's what I'm saying. Without, yeah. I thought you meant without, but yes. I would like to think he's fair too, JC. I'm just saying, here's some litmus tests. There's a couple of litmus tests. So there's that one. If he doesn't drop the wiretapping charge, if he doesn't dismiss that, then we know he's running Bev's court just in a different courthouse. If he doesn't sanction the prosecution for handing over 4,000 blank pages and lying to his face that they were handing over 5,000 pages of discovery, then we know that's another litmus test. So, but I would like to believe that Dulan won't do that. We shall have to see. Hey, it's our friend from Texas. How's
Hello,
it going?
how are you?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing great today. Thanks for asking.
Cool. Well, I think I got my times all mixed up, so I kind of started a little while back, but
That's okay. At least I'm here now.
you're here now. Kurt's
Yeah.
here. Kurt's here from Texas. We were just discussing the time zones and how big a head fuck it is to get the time zones right. So,
Yeah, that's a problem. Well, it's 8:30 p.m. here on the 13th. So,
okay, there you go. So what's happened at your end?
not much. It's been a lazy Sunday. Oh, I finally got the watch I ordered over a month ago. So, I finally got that. So, I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, flash it in front of the screen so we know. Oh, what is it?
It is a Zin. It is a German watch. The model is the U1.
U1 German watch.
Yes.
Flash, man.
Very exciting.
How much did that set you back?
$1,500 used.
Ouch.
That's actually a pretty good deal on it, to be honest. It's $2,900 new. So $1,500 used is actually a pretty decent price.
Right. Let me just do a quick conversion. Because it changes so often. That is $2,284 in Australian. Ouch. It's expensive. Well, I'm glad you got your watch when you paid those sort of dollars for it. It'd be like a bit of a bummer if it got lost in the mail or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm loving it. I love the style of it. It's very cool. It's made out of the same steel that they make German submarines out of. They go to the same manufacturer that makes the steel for the German submarines, and so they get the same steel. So, like, yeah, it's probably pretty water resistant. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
German submarines.
It's rated for 1,000 meters of water resistance.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you need to dive 3,000 feet, it's got you covered.
All right. Everyone wants a camera on today, and I feel I should be polite and put the camera on today. So, God, we have so many questions for the lawyers, but
Oh dear.
the first thing I wanted to do was thank you for the entertainment throughout the trial, because we all would have tore our hair out if we didn't have you guys helping us understand what was going on, and the humor, the mashups that we were doing were helping us cope basically. So part of the reason for having you guys come on is to thank you all, because we did nick a bit of content along the ways, and but we appreciate the content that we did nick, and it did help prevent us from tearing our hair out through the trial.
Well, I appreciate that. I hope people learn things of legal value from my streaming, and learned a little bit more about the law and what it is and
For
how it
sure.
works, at least in the U.S. And for what it's fair, because we both derive our systems from English common law, we have probably enough in common to be able to understand each other reasonably well.
Right. Well, it's taken a lot to wrap my head around the differences, but I've enjoyed the challenge. That's just how my brain works, you know, like I would never have even wanted to understand Australian law if I wasn't looking at American law and trying to compare them. It just wouldn't have crossed my mind to do it for any reason except that here's a challenge. Let's compare. But I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about American law. I probably learned more about American law than I have about Australian law, actually. So, what was the question I was going to ask you? We were just actually discussing Aidan Kearney's case.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the concerns that I have is that we're going to go down the same path as we did with Karen Reid's case. We're going to be stuck with a dickhead judge who doesn't care about the law. What do you think the chances are of that? What's your feeling so far with Judge Dulan?
I don't know enough. And to be fair to the judge, the law in this, particularly as it applies to a potential as applied First Amendment challenge, can get very technically tricky
Right.
as we try to figure out exactly where the borders can be. And so, like, I think the statute is valid on its face. So because to do a facial challenge to say the law is invalid, you basically have to show that it has no valid applications, or basically substantially no valid applications. I'm like, well, that's not true. This law obviously has valid applications. And so then your next step in the analysis is an as applied challenge on a First Amendment basis. Like, is it unconstitutional as applied to him? Which is obviously very fact specific. To some degree, I don't know that we necessarily know the answer to the question based on what's presently available, because at this time we have a vague outline of exactly what's happening, but we don't know, assuming that he is guilty of the crime as written, we don't know whether or not he is or is not protected by the First Amendment necessarily in the first instance. And that can get very, very tricky down the line. So
Well, see,
this
I'm
could
not
be
even
an
looking
interesting
at it
thing that
that
goes
way.
on for a while.
I'm not even looking at it that way. Like we've got two things that have just come up.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, I think it was, or the week before, when he was in court, the Cosgroves sat there and told the judge, "We've handed over 5,000 pages of evidence of
Mm-hmm.
discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've opened that discovery and 4,000 pages of it's blank."
Apparently.
So I can't see how any judge could not be cranky about that.
I would
Once,
have some follow-up questions.
right. So here's the thing. To me, it's a litmus test. If Judge Dulan just completely ignores the fact that they did that, then we're in Bev territory. Here's another one that we were just talking about. Aidan Kearney has proof that the wiretapping charge was
Yeah,
for recording the abuse his girlfriend was hurling at him to try and get his bond revoked and chucked in jail.
sure.
He recorded that. The first 10 seconds of that recording is Aidan saying, "I'm still recording this," and she's saying, I know. But they removed that exculpatory evidence from the recording and put in front of the grand jury other parts of the recording, but they removed the exculpatory part. If
Mm-hmm.
Judge Dulan doesn't point some fingers at what the hell is going on there, then I feel like that's another litmus test. If he doesn't, then we're still in Judge Bev territory, aren't we?
Yeah, quite possibly. I would think so.
Mm. Like those are two obvious things that we can use as a litmus test to see where we're going with Judge Dulan. Do you think?
Quite possibly. I think that's a reasonable approach. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. And to the extent that he gives a ruling that is unfavorable, then I'd be interested in the legal reasoning behind it as to whether or not it's a valid opinion or not. Because it's all based on the reasoning.
Right.
And so if there's a reason that it makes sense, then I'm willing to hear that reason. Like Judge Bev made decisions. I'm like, yeah, that sounds right. To some of them, I didn't think she was wrong every single time. And so I want to know what the judge's legal reasoning is and why he thought certain things.
Right. For the record, I did. But that's because I'm not a lawyer. I mean, obviously, but
Yeah, I mean, I thought Judge Bev was correct on, for example, like the motion to dismiss for extraordinary reasons. She was obviously correct on the motion for double jeopardy reasons. Every single court that reviewed it agreed with her. So, I mean, and I thought she was right in the first instance anyway. So,
Quizzical makes a good point here. Discovery documents being redacted when they're being handed to the defense. What's the go there?
no, they should be handed complete.
Right.
The only exception might be for like confidential informants, but usually they're not identified by name anyway.
So do you think Kate Peters is a confidential informant and that's why they redacted her shit?
I don't know.
Well, did you read the letter? Have you read the Bettero letter yet?
Yeah, I mean, I read it.
Yeah, right. What did you make of that?
I think that he's doing his best job defending his client as he's supposed to do.
Right.
I mean, they're very similar to objections that I would make. You want to pursue your client's interests. You want to raise every stink. You want to raise every issue that's possible. I think he's doing his job. So
the point is, because we've been following Turtle Boy's case since the day he uploaded that recording, we've got all the evidence. Everything that he has mentioned there may be one or two things in there that were new to us, but everything in that 13-page document that Bettero wrote we've got evidence of. We already had the receipts, not just because Turtle Boy gave them to us. We were sitting there watching Krusty do this shit right in front of our faces. The admitting to fraudulent federal documents just to get back at him for, video content. We were actually watching her admit that in public on YouTube. The O'Keefes asked me to look into to get dirt on Aidan and go after him. We were sitting there watching her freaking say that on Roberta Glass's channel. So we've got evidence of those things already. Like we, as the public just watching on, have already seen the receipts. So nothing that Bettero put in there is a stretch. Let's say it that way. There's evidence of pretty much all of it. But
I have no doubt that he has a good faith reason to say everything he said. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind.
But
of course, I'll be interested in the legal reasoning behind any decision that would come out.
Right. Well, I really wasn't asking you about the legal reasoning. I was really just asking you what you felt about. Let's assume that there is all that evidence there, and the prosecution's not giving it to them.
Well, if the prosecution's not giving them evidence, then it certainly raises obvious problems under Brady and Giglio. So, I mean, that's obvious.
And how were the Brady Giglio issues in Karen Reid's trial treated?
Well, to the extent that they were revealed, they were solved by the prosecution giving the evidence, which is normally the remedy that you get for a violation.
I don't know.
I mean, it's normally the same remedy you get on appeal. If you are convicted based on evidence and then it turns out the prosecutor didn't give you everything and you appeal and you win on that basis, typically the remedy is a new trial with the evidence.
Yeah. All right. So I should have known you were gonna be all technical about it, but
is that why you asked me on? You said you had questions for the lawyers?
Well, partly.
And then you didn't, and then you expected me not to give you a legal answer?
No, partly. I wanted separation between opinion this is my opinion and this is the legal basis. So, but that's okay. We'll stick with we'll stick with the technical. How's that?
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, I'm just concerned that we're going to end up, in the same trap that we were with Karen Reid. The judges not allowing, relevant evidence to be admitted, and I think we can get early signals for that by looking at the way Judge Dulan deals with these things that are coming up. So,
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, there might be legal reasons. It's possible that there's some
and
legal reason that the prosecutor is doing the correct thing. I don't know. And so it's like what I say. It's like, I need to understand the legal reasoning from the judge. If he's going to agree with either side, I want to understand the solidity of his legal reasoning. So I can try to mark how good he is as a judge. So if the judge denies Aidan Kearney's motion, I'd want to know why, to know whether or not his decision was correct under relevant Massachusetts law.
All right, I follow what you're saying. So,
Right.
wait to see how Judge Dulan deals with it, because right now it's just a letter between the attorneys. Obviously, Judge Dulan's not aware of it yet. That they
Yeah, I
got
mean, until someone makes a motion in the judge's court, I guarantee you the judge isn't going to do anything about it.
Right.
The judge is not going to do it. The judge doesn't even know these letters exist until someone brings it to his attention. He's not supposed to know they exist until someone brings it to his attention.
But it was said in open court, we are now giving the defense 5,000 pages of discovery. That was said in open court. So
I heard that part.
yeah, right. So it's started, but we still got to wait and see where it goes to from there.
Sure.
So the next thing I was going to ask you is, assuming the things that Bettero is stating in his 13-page letter, what are the implications for Kate at this point?
Could you clarify your question a little bit more?
Well, she's basically just going to sit there and act like she's above the law, right? And nobody can do a damn thing because Aidan is currently under those charges.
Right.
But, so she's just sitting there laughing at everybody. But at the point where all those charges get dropped, assuming that's what happens, or whatever, and Aidan is no longer on trial anymore, what are the implications for her?
I don't know if there are any implications. Statements to police are protected. Statements legally.
What about removing the exculpatory part of his recording and giving that to the police to use to indict him with a grand jury? What about that? That's called evidence tampering, isn't it?
Could be. Sure. Yeah. So yeah, possibly, but that certainly takes the prosecutor off the hook. If the prosecutor presented what they had and they had a good faith belief to believe that was what it was, that takes the prosecutor off the hook because they didn't know.
How about wire fraud? If she transmitted the edited audio, knowing it would be used to obtain charges.
Usually wire fraud, you need some sort of pecuniary gain. It doesn't necessarily have to be money, but it has to be something of value.
Well,
so it's not clear that it falls into wire fraud.
She is gaining. That's what I thought. I thought Beto was pretty clear about what she's gaining there. She's like getting off all of her criminal charges. They're doing a trade ski. They're doing a quid pro quo, as Melanie says.
Well, if she was getting off her criminal charges in exchange for providing correct evidence, then presumably the prosecutor could yank the criminal deal and use all the statements that she's made against her to boot. That's one of the things. If you sign a plea deal and you sign guilty, and it's like one of the things of the deal is, to cooperate, and you don't, or you lie, they can then yank the deal, and then they can use your signed statement that you're guilty against you in trial. So it's a very unfun place to be in. So you don't want to do that.
She knows she's in an unfun place. That's why she's desperately trying to say that Aidan is doing this as retaliation against her. However, we have her on video on YouTube admitting that she's doing all of this as retaliation against Aidan.
Well, if you have her on video saying that, that would be a pretty good basis for making the accusation, because if she herself said it, then it's pretty hard to say that that's not at least what she said. And she can't sort of complain about it from a defamation point of view, because if she said it, it's like, I have every reason to believe it's true. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. So, what about conspiracy with state actors? Because
Well,
that's
for a
quite
conspiracy,
valid.
you actually need an agreement between them to pursue an illicit end. So the mere agreement to a plea deal is not a conspiracy because it's not illicit. The plea deal is completely legal.
Mhm.
So you need two people for there to be a conspiracy. So you would need someone else to be aware that they're pursuing an illegal end and take an overt step towards that end. So if the prosecutors or the police didn't know that and they didn't agree to it, then you don't have conspiracy.
That's why they're asking for all of the texts and emails and stuff that they're not handing over, basically. But
Yeah,
that's the point.
quite possible.
Yeah. Crafty Kate, indeed, Quizzy. So JC wants to know how you're doing. You've been accomplishing great things lately.
Doing pretty good. I went to the gym 4 days last week, so that was pretty encouraging. I'm trying to do edited videos now more. I've got a one for Jeffrey Epstein that I'm working on for tomorrow, hopefully, to post. Everything else is mildly decent in my life. I filed the amended complaint on behalf of my client in federal court, so that's exciting.
Yay.
So we'll see how that goes.
Right. Legal-minded friends, Karen Cole. Implications for Kate Peters could be obstruction or perverting the course of justice. I think it's just obstruction in America, but yes. We have
obstructing. Lying to the police can be obstructing. Obstruction is basically when you take action to hinder or hamper or delay or prevent the police from acting. So one thing that's important in the US, it is not obstruction by itself merely to not cooperate with the police. So if the police come, so if you're a witness to a crime, for example, and the police come to you and say, "Are you a witness?" and you say yes, and they say, like, "We have some questions." It is not obstruction to say, "No, I'm not going to answer your questions." Now, the grand jury can subpoena you, and that would be a valid court order at that point to appear. But it's not obstruction merely to decline to cooperate. Although most police don't know that, and they will absolutely arrest you anyway. But you won't be convicted because it's not obstruction to just fail to cooperate.
What if you are fraudulently creating evidence?
See, now you're taking action now, aren't you? See, that's my whole thing. Like, if you're fraudulently creating evidence and you're providing them false evidence, you're taking an affirmative step at that point. You're not doing something, you're doing something. That's a problem.
It's a problem. I'm
Yeah.
sure she knows it's a problem. That's why she's squealing like a bitch right now. So she knows as soon as Aidan's done, she's on the hook. She knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unless they get some sort of conviction for from Aidan's case, then she's not on the hook, I guess. But if he gets let off of everything, and most of it's evidence that she cooked up and gave them, then she knows she's on the hook for all of that, right?
Could well be, yeah.
Mm.
And it could shatter any plea deal or plea arrangement she has. And
Right.
to the extent that she's providing false information, that could obviously be used to impeach her, and so forth and so on. So it's a whole tangled mess.
Mm-hmm. And we were just reading the article where all the promises that DA Morrissey made the witnesses in the Karen Reid trial have all been pulled. So it's not like they're going to prop her up forever. So, like, they got a lot more out of those witnesses over 2 trials by promising them protection that they're claiming they're not getting now. That's a question that we all ask. Is there any such thing as when you're a witness and you're subpoenaed to testify of protection? Is there a protection racket for witnesses? Because I've testified twice.
There's
And
witness protection in a formal sense. There's that.
right. I've
I mean, there's a
testified.
whole witness protection program you may have heard of.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that
Okay.
one.
Yeah, so that can be done by the state level, and it can be done on a more informal basis depending on the need of the protection. So there are legal versions of it.
None of those witnesses that testified in Karen Reid's trial, 1 or 2, were in witness protection, were they?
No.
But they're acting like they were. They're saying, we aren't getting the protection. There's no point in being a witness because you're not protected. And I'm like, I've been a witness twice and not protected, and I don't get where you're coming from. Because you go there to tell the truth, you get subpoenaed, you have no choice, you have to go and testify. So what the hell are they talking about? What protection?
As to them, I couldn't speak to whether they were promised anything that the state failed to deliver. That would be the only thing that I could think of. The state failed to come through on some sort of representation. But I don't know.
Good on you, JC. We don't know whose custody, but we know she's in witness protection custody somewhere. In custody we trust. So yeah, so these are all just like things that I've been mulling over, wondering, what are the legal ramifications for her? I don't know if I trust any judge in Massachusetts right now. It's not that I've got any bad vibes off Judge Dulan. I don't think I have yet. I haven't seen him say or do anything that's given me any. It's just it's in Massachusetts, and you're all screwed if you're in Massachusetts.
Well, I'd say, give the new judge a chance, just like you would try to judge anyone on their merits.
Right.
And the judge may make incorrect decisions or decisions I disagree with. But with Judge Bev, for example, it got so wide, like the delta between the expected and the reality got so wide so often. I'm like, there is more systemic problem here. Because on any given day, I mean, judges are human beings. On any given day, they could make a decision that's wrong. And so the quality of the judge is, I suppose, to some degree, how often they get it wrong and by how much, and whether or not it's emblematic of greater problems.
Mm-hmm. I think for me with Judge Bev, it was the obvious bias. That's when you're after a neutral arbiter. I didn't feel she was a neutral arbiter. So
no, that became apparent at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
I do feel at this point, from what we've seen of Dulan so far, I do feel that he's shaping up to be a neutral arbiter.
There you go.
See, though. We'll see. He seems okay for now. Exactly, Quizzy. Someone is asking about your shorts. Are you going to be doing more shorts? I like your shorts. Hang on, let me find it.
I've never really been great at creating shorts. When we did the first Karen Reid trial, there was some good ones that we did. But I find creating shorts somewhat difficult, but we do what I can find. I'm still trying to get my scripts correct so that, they'll go viral and stuff.
It's not easy. I don't think I would have been I wouldn't have arrived here where I'm at now without all the shout outs from all you wonderful people who shouted us out and had me on your channels as guests. So I appreciate the little help along that you guys have all given me. Melanie and Will shouting me out every other week was bloody awesome. So that was kind of where I did most of my growing in that period. So but it was Jen the Couch Fairy that was asking about your shorts channel, so she wants to see more shorts. We like shorts. Okay, Let me have a look at what other notes we have here. What else did you want to talk about? Anything interesting that you've been looking at?
Well, the Supreme Court stuff, of course, is always interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on there with, dueling orders and lower judges fighting the Supreme Court and stuff has been interesting.
Is that the
Justice Jackson on a raft alone recently in an 8-1, and like the other judges are basically apparently tired of her shit. It's like, that was pretty interesting. Brian Koberger, obviously, with his recent plea, kind of annoyed me because we didn't get the story as part of the plea, which really annoyed me. There's Courtney Clenny coming up, and then of course in January, I believe, is Carmelo, the 17-year-old who stabbed a teammate in Texas, charging him with first-degree murder. Probably not going to end super well for him, I would imagine, but I'm looking forward to that trial. And then I'm just trying to do stories as often as I can, like the one dealing with Epstein, and trying to make that work and work on my delivery and stuff. So all that exciting stuff.
Some of the Supreme Court stuff that gets into the political stuff, I can't follow it. I mean, I try really hard, but I can't follow it.
That's okay. I'm an expert.
Right. Your channel's probably the only one that I can watch because you explain it to a point where it's understandable. But with the political stuff is so hard because I'm not in your political environment. So I don't understand the nuances, if that makes sense, that go with the political environment. So
we're doing okay over here. Other countries may disagree, but we're doing fine.
Yeah, Montana, this is my issue as well. We're on the fourth judge who has laundered information from unconstitutionally seized phones. So when we say laundering information, this is kind of a little thing that I've coined. So when they took Aidan Kearney's phones, they didn't have a taint team go through his phones to separate his legal stuff from, what's part of the case. They actually took it straight to a grand jury to try to indict him and Karen Reid on conspiracy charges. And then they wanted all this other stuff, the witness intimidation and stuff, that all came afterwards. So they want to keep all the phone stuff. Now they're going to put a taint team on the phone stuff.
Sure.
Now it's laundered, right? It was tainted. Now they're laundering it to make it look like it's not tainted. That was my little coining of a term. So we've got laundering evidence and we've got laundering witnesses as well.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree. They usually only do a team in the first instance if they have a pretty solid belief that it will contain privileged information in the first place. So if you seized a lawyer's phone, for example, they'd probably do a taint team in the first instance because they would expect there to be a lot of lawyer-client communication on there. But for a normal person, they're not going to do a taint team in the first instance because there's no particular reason to believe that there would be legal or privileged information on that person's phone because it's just a random guy.
Except that
people say all kinds of shit. There's no reason to credit it.
They'd already charged him with a bunch of other shit before they took his phone.
Okay. All right.
So obviously he had legal stuff on his phones.
That's not obvious at all. Why would it be obvious that because he's been charged with other things, there's legal information on his phone? Why would that be obvious?
Because he told them.
Yeah, but why would you believe him? Police, they say all kinds of shit. Suspects say all kinds of things. Suspects say all kinds of lies. They say anything to try to get out stuff. Why would you believe the suspect in the first instance?
I would have thought if the person says to the judge, hey, I've got legal shit on there, the judge goes, okay, well, we'll check. That's what the taint.
Well, they said it to the judge. They did the search before. Did they do the search before or after they made the issue to the judge?
I don't know the details because a lot of Aidan's court hearings aren't being televised. So
okay.
I mean,
I would expect, because the only way that they would know that there was a problem would be presumably after the search. So I would suspect that they dumped the phone responsive to a search warrant. And then at some later point, they informed the judge. And that's when the prosecutor decided to assign a team to try to filter out that information. But
Mm,
that's completely proper procedurally because there was no reason to assume that there'd be any information on the phone because there's no reason to credit a suspect because they'll say any kind of shit. And there's no reason to believe that there'd be legal information on his phone in particular. And so once they discover that, then they would assign a taint team to help filter it out so that, it wouldn't be used at trial.
mm.
But that's proper procedurally. I wouldn't call that laundering.
All right, that's good. You've straightened out a couple of things. Like when you're researching and you don't have that experience as a lawyer like you do, you can tend to take things far too literally. And it sounds like maybe I've taken that one far too literally, that it has to have a taint team if you say, I've got privileged information on this. So I get where you're coming from, though. This is a really good question from Southern Mum on a different topic, though. What is the process for getting someone added to the Brady list? And would it be up to the commission to put Diva on the list? And how does that work? And what is the Brady list and who maintains it? And does the public have access to it? Should I slow down?
So typically, no, the public doesn't have access to it. As to how it's maintained and by whom, that's going to be different on a state to state level because different states deal with it differently. Usually it's maintained by the local police department, although sometimes there's a statewide database. And what it is a listing of cops that have essentially been found to be not credible for any combination of reasons, that there is some problem with them. And so it is a way to ensure that knowledge of that problem with the cop will be given to any defense lawyer that then encounters a cop like that in their case so that that information is disclosed because the government has to disclose any information in its possession that would make it less likely that the guy did it, lessen his sentence or lessen his punishment, or would indicate that the witness, even if it's a cop, has that's incriminating information or would be impeachment information more precisely. So they have to disclose all that information. And that can be on a case specific level and usually is. So what the Brady list is usually for more systemic problems or cops that have been out and out lying or otherwise there's been some problem. And it usually is up to the police commissioner or other, similar authority to make that decision to put them on a list to disclose it. And so then the request to put them on the Brady list is by Jackson was to give notification of this problem. It's like either Dever was lying or she's unreliable. So either either way, it would be Giglio because either way, it taints her credibility because she's a liar, or it taints her credibility because her memory sucks. So
But
she
the
should
thing
be
is,
added to
he
that
was just
list.
saying, I'm putting you on notice. That was really the purpose of his letter, wasn't it? Just to put him on
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah, I would be surprised if the commissioner gives a response to it. I don't know what they'll do, but I'd be surprised if they give a response.
Mm. So he would just pass it on to the department that does that, or is that what you're saying?
I would say that even if he takes some action responsive to that, whatever that would be, I don't think he would necessarily inform Jackson of that because he's not required to. If he's
Yeah.
required to put him on the list, he's required to put him on the list. I don't necessarily need to tell Jackson about it because, well, Jackson isn't a lawyer in a case involving Dever anymore, at least not a criminal case. So there's no reason I have to tell him that he's on the list because he's not obligated to know anymore.
Right. Sorry, I'm just looking at the next question. I'm trying to group the questions so that we're not changing topics too quickly.
Sure. Take your time.
Yeah. All right. That looks like we're sort of there. So, yes, Scott, she destroyed her career. All right. What's your feelings about Kelly Dever?
Well, I have mixed feelings about the situation because eyewitness testimony has been studied, as you would imagine, and it is reliably the most unreliable evidence in our system.
Right.
Eyewitness testimony is kind of shit, and people remember things that never happened. Human memory kind of sucks. People remember things; they remember them out of order. They remember they forget the details, and so forth and so on. There was a pretty famous case. I want to say it was in the late 80s or 90s. There was a woman who was sexually assaulted, and as she was being attacked and forced to perform acts against her will, she wrote about this later. She wrote a book about it. She said how she made a very active effort to like memorize this guy's face. Like she wrote about how he's like, I wanted to make sure that I remembered the details of his face, remembered about him, so that I'd be able to identify this person. I took a real active effort, to remember this guy's details. And she picked the wrong person. And, like 20 years later, he was exonerated, based on DNA evidence or what, or like 20 years later. But she, got up in court and said, no, this is totally the guy. I took the effort to memorize his face. I'm 100% sure it's the guy. It wasn't the guy. So
Well,
I keep that story in mind just as an exemplar about how people can screw up the details, even if they're trying to remember the details.
I've had first-hand experience with that. I was asked to identify the person who pulled in our driveway and beat my landlord up, and I didn't know, I'd never seen him before. Just that moment when he came out of the shed and hopped in his car, he stood in front of his headlights for a moment, and I was like showing photos of him from years prior. So it was really, really hard for me to pick. I wasn't entirely sure I'd picked the right person. When it was all over and the officer was letting me go, I was like, did I pick the right guy? He was right. Yeah, you sure did. I was like, phew, because that wasn't easy, because they'd showed he's got his hair all cut real short in a crew cut, like, this much hair left on his head basically. But the photos that they're showing me, he's got long hair. So it was actually really hard to do. So I can testify that yes, it's a hard thing trying to pick someone in a lineup, especially if they look a little bit different. So yeah.
So going back to Dever, my point was that it's quite possible that she just made a false memory. I mean, I don't discredit that possibility. Now, that doesn't necessarily say great things about her ability to remember things, which goes to her ability as a cop, but it could be true that she forced a false memory, even a fairly detailed false memory, because those can kind of happen. It's interesting because there's all kinds of psychological studies on this. If you go research, you can give people detailed false memories with a little bit of careful questioning, and then they'll swear that this whole happened. I'll give another example too, like that just kind of proves the point. There's like a famous story. I don't know if it's happened more than once, but a story about like a law professor teaching in front of a class, on evidence or something, and he hired a guy or had a former student or something come in. So this is all pre-planned, right? So
Yeah.
this guy bursts through the door, and gets into right in the middle of class, gets into this real strong verbal fight, all the rest of it, and like, might shove the professor and like, takes his briefcase and runs out the door. The professor says, okay, everyone, write down what you observed. It doesn't go well.
Right.
It doesn't go well.
I think my issue with Diva is I did a show on it a couple of days ago, just sort of fleshing it out in my head to try and identify what the issue is. But I think my issue with her is that whether it was a false memory or not, she gives her testimony as to what she recalls, and then someone else comes along and convinces her to recant. That's my issue with Deva's testimony. She said it's not her own memory that she's correcting. It's someone else came along and said that time stamp can't be true, they've changed her testimony essentially by saying, well, didn't you knock off at blah blah, so that can't be true. So
fair enough. I mean, if that's accurate, if she consulted a time record and realized it can't be true, then that would be a reasonable basis to doubt her own memory.
but if you're going by Proctor's doctored timestamps on the Sallyport video, because we know they're all an hour out, then she could have been there. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, she said general counsel advised me that it couldn't have been true. That's what she said on the stand. And so someone else has actually told her that her memory can't be correct. She hasn't done it herself. Do you get what I'm saying? That's
I understand.
my issue with it. It's witness tampering. It's witness tampering.
I don't know if it's witness tampering or not, because to be honest, if I was representing a client and I was going through their testimony and they told me something that was inconsistent with something else, I'd probably point it out, because I'm like, that can't possibly be correct because of this other thing, you know, because my job is to help prep my client. And I'm like, what you're saying doesn't make sense. So you're going to be asked this question, you know, about it. So.
Oh my God, Keith, wouldn't that be awesome? I hope someone does leak it. I actually discovered that there's a lot of weird shit going on with their footage. I can't talk about it, but there's a lot of weird shit going on with their footage. When the civil trial wraps up, I'll probably do a video on what I found in their footage, but I was actually given some original footage that they actually were given in discovery, and found some weird shit in there. So I will go into more detail on that when they're finished with the civil case, because if it comes up in the civil case and it's useful to them, I don't want to give anyone the heads up on the other side of this. So but yeah,
but the wonderful thing about Dever is, like, I'm basing my opinion on the exact same thing that you are, which is her testimony. So it's out there for everyone to judge for themselves. Was she lying? Did she forget? Was she pressured? Was she not? So I don't necessarily have any more insight except my knowledge about how shit eyewitness testimony can be. So the extent I have anything to offer, it's based on that. So otherwise, it's available for you to make up your own opinion.
I'm not really too concerned about whether she lied or not. I'm more concerned about whether somebody else influenced her to recant, because that's a bigger issue to me, I guess, than
I understand.
What was the wildest moment in the trial, or in the two trials, for you?
I think the one that sticks out to me is when Brian Higgins in the first trial testified about whether or not Karen Reed was ignoring her or not when they were in the bar together. And he said something like, or I think it was the person questioning him, guess it was Jackson questioning him, and said, oh, she was going around and talking to everyone, you know, because Brian Higgins said that, you know, Karen Reed was working the room. You know, she was going around and talking to everyone. And on my short, I'm like, that's even worse. I'm like, you know, that she, you know, maybe she didn't see you, or maybe she was busy with other friends or something. Maybe that's why she didn't come up to see you. But like, if she's working the room, I'm like, oh, so she's working the room, talking to everyone, just not to me. I'm like, that's really sad. That's rough.
Yeah. I think that was one of our favorite moments that we caught in the mashups, actually, was your reaction to that.
Yeah, that's probably the one that sticks out the most to me. I'm like, this is a new level of pathetic. I don't even know what the right verbiage is at this point.
I think for me, it was when, well, I got two wildest moments, one from each trial. The Sallyport footage that they just, you know, weeks into trial, just like, bam, we've got all this footage that we didn't hand over to the defense. That one was a and it's reversed. I think that was a big jaw dropper for me. And then I guess the next wildest moment was when Hank Brennan tried to say that the cuts in the back of John's shirt were from the actual impact.
That was a pretty bad mistake, and the fact that no one on his team corrected him in the moment is not great.
Right. And his tantrum with Dr. Wolf, that was pretty good. It was just like an ongoing tantrum.
Lally, as always, remains my hero. I'm hardcore team Lally. Even Jackson and Baba Leslie, they can all take a second seat. Lucky's my guy, baby. He's my hero.
A lot of people were saying, like, we all miss Lally, bring Lally back. To be honest, I found them both difficult to listen to. I found them both difficult to focus on what they were saying, because they both have personality traits and a tone of voice that's very difficult to follow what they're saying. That makes it very difficult to follow what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I found them equally unenjoyable. Kurt, you and Natalie were hysterical. And Aussie, thanks for the mashups. My pleasure. Well, this is
I did enjoy seeing myself in the mashups. I was always a little disappointed when I wasn't in one. I didn't seem to be in as many mashups this time around as the first time around. I guess I wasn't as entertaining this time around. Oh well.
We were looking
I'll try to take it personally.
We were looking for the humor, but what actually happened was I ended up with too many lawyers. I ended up with too many of yous, and I was trying to share the love around, make sure everyone's getting a bit.
But I thought I was first in your heart.
Look, no one can beat your reaction to the Higgy text. Your reaction to the Higgy text. Two things. Your initial reaction to this trial when you first heard about it, no one's going to beat that one. That was probably one of the best reactions that we caught out of everything. Your initial reactions to when you first heard about the trial was like, what was the thing that you said that was the funniest? It was about did someone draw the short straw at the DA's office or something along those lines? It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So
100%.
No one will beat those two. Your initial reactions to what the trial was all about, and then Higgy's takes. There's close between you and Ian as to who had the best reactions to Higgy's text. So, but yeah. Excuse me.
You're excused.
I'm giving up smoking, and I'm trying to fume.
That's probably a good idea.
Fuming my way through it. But yeah. It just makes my throat a little drier than maybe a cigarette would, believe it or not. It's just supposed to be flavored air. So, if I left you out, my audience always went looking for you.
Aww.
But that was the point. The point wasn't to take your content and have it on my channel. The point was to tell people these lawyers are funny, entertaining, informative. Go check their channels out. So I was always very careful about how much of your content was in a mashup, so that it was enough to get people interested to go and look at your channel and watch the full footage, basically. So yeah, a hilarious Kurtism as a reaction. Is that what we're doing now?
I don't know.
In a deadpan
Am I
way.
frozen?
Beg your pardon?
Oh, no, I was just checking my display. I thought I was frozen for a second. Never mind.
Right. I do have sometimes satellite issues. So if anything like that happens, just keep talking. Take it away.
Okay, I'll try to keep that up.
I sometimes get kidnapped, so What's your feeling about the feds?
In regards to Karen Reed,
Yeah.
well, I'll say a couple things about this. I'd say, first of all, the Fed's jurisdiction here is relatively light. Different countries have different systems. In the American system, almost all prosecutions are done by the state level authority. Federal
Okay.
prosecutions are by far and away the exception. The feds only can get involved in the first place in certain limited instances. So they need a
Like
jurisdictional hook.
corruption, for
Yeah,
example.
basically using for the police, using color of law to deprive someone of their federal rights, basically is the hook here. The feds also, as a general rule, don't like to bring charges if they are doubtful. They like to have you like 8 different ways, because the feds have a 99.2% success rate once you factor in plea deals. And the reason that they're so high is because they don't tend to F around. So they don't like to bring things unless they're going to absolutely nail you to the wall. So they tend to be very reserved as a general policy, as opposed to state level authorities, which tend not to be as reserved as the feds. So it could be a whole lot of things. It could be that there's simply not enough evidence to prosecute anyone by Fed standards because of how conservative they tend to be as a institution.
Mm-hmm.
It could be one of the more likely explanations is the change in administration, because of course, remember, since January, we have a new administration now, which means a different U.S. attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course you have the attorney general, but every one of the 94 districts has a U.S. attorney that leads that district, and they're all political appointees too. And so the change of administration means a change in political parties. So it could be that they are not pursuing this because they have different political parties and simply ranks lower compared to other political parties, because it's like you got to make choices about what you're going to do. And so that could be a very reasonable explanation, to be quite honest. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning as well. Like, clearly Morrissey's office had caught their attention for some reason. Clearly it's to do with, public corruption. It could be denial of somebody's rights, but there's a whole list that falls under that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Mm.
So I wouldn't expect necessarily the feds to do anything. If I had to anticipate, I would think it's unlikely the feds will pursue this, but they could always surprise me. The feds are also very good about keeping their cards close to their vest.
Right.
They're very good about not telling you what they're doing when they're investigating things.
Yeah. Yes, so I don't believe that they told anyone outright, oh yeah, we're not investigating you anymore. I don't believe that any of that happened. But as far as what they were investigating to begin with, obviously Morrissey caught their attention, or the like, I forget the friggin' name of the unit that the cops are all part of, which is his investigative unit. SPDU, I think they're called, aren't they?
Nice.
Either that or the SPDU caught their attention. Someone caught their attention. And it was specifically in relation to John O'Keefe, because they did the tests on whether or not the car hit him. That's the bit that confuses me, because in that sense they are interfering in the state's trial, aren't they?
No, not really. And that's one of the reasons that I think, at least in part, that Bev didn't want the Fed's names mentioned, because I think she thought, among her reasons, it was an undue influence. And I at least I know Jackson has said he thinks every other judge he's ever worked with would have let the Feds in. But maybe I'm one of the few who's like, no, I'm somewhat inclined to keep it out, because I think it's a little bit too prejudicial. Because people have strong feelings about the feds, and the feds being the party that hired them is kind of irrelevant. What matters is what they have to testify to. So I don't really have a problem with the feds, in doing an investigation and making an expert known to the parties. That's obviously their calls. They're a witness, so it's up to them. But I don't think it's improper because
I
the
didn't think
witness
it
is
was
simply
improper.
testifying the same way they would anyway.
I'm trying to make the connection between the public corruption and why they would be testing whether the car hit John. Do you get what I'm saying? That there seems to be a little disconnect there for me. What has a car, whether or not the car hit John, got to do with the public corruption if that's their role?
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't in and of itself. What would be the public corruption is the police violating someone's rights by, among other things, faking evidence or
Overcharging them.
not overcharging. That's prosecutorial discretion, but knowingly faking evidence, knowingly withholding evidence, knowingly like conspiring to change evidence. That would be the federal hook.
Mm.
And so the feds, as they were investigating that, can obviously investigate what they want as trying to make the determination. And so if they decide to get into the finer points of this car crash to try to figure out if there was some way to get to that ultimate goal, then that's where the investigation goes. Investigations go where they go. And so that's just how it developed for whatever reason. So yeah.
No corn pipe, not yet. We will, but just not yet. Kurt and I had a chat about that a little earlier. We're holding off on that one. All right. So the feds on the are you familiar with the Sandra Birchmore case?
I'm sorry, Sandra Birchmore?
Yeah.
Not especially. I mean, just the headlines.
Just the headlines. Fair enough. We kind of think that the SPDU were involved with the Sandra Birchmore case. They held off the arrest of Matthew Farwell until after, like a week after Karen Reid's first trial.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they pounced him and arrested him. So we kind of think that there's some sort of connection between the two investigations there.
Could be. I mean, a lot of same actors involved, obviously.
Same actors, right. But they have done a lot of. This is not their first rodeo of covering shit up, and that's what the Birchmore case sort of alerted the public to, and so that's why people make those connections, I guess. So,
how's that vape helping? Is it doing you any good?
Yes and no. Yeah, it does. It's not a vape. It's just flavored air. It's just mint flavored air.
Oh, I see. Fair enough. I apologize.
Smoke, menthol cigarettes.
I apologize.
That's all right. You can call it whatever you like, but vapes are banned in Australia, so I just have to make that clear.
Are they really? That's interesting.
Yeah. But
they don't let you guys have anything down there, do they, huh?
No.
Okay.
Can't have nice things in Australia. They've just actually knocked off a few more nice things. You can't have internet without identification now.
That's the law in South Korea as well, I believe.
But you're going to say North Korea?
I don't think there's internet in North Korea, so I think it's moot.
Probably. But it is getting to that point, where it's starting to feel like we're living in North Korea. You guys at least have a constitution at the moment.
We do have one of those. It's worked out very good for us.
It has. So look after that sucker while you still got it.
We're holding on. 250 years proud this year, baby. USA, USA, USA.
So there you go. Well, it's been a wonderful what is it, live stream. I don't know why that fell out of my head, but it did. It's been a wonderful live stream catching up with you, Kurt. We really appreciate you coming in. Is there any would you like to just plug your channel so everyone knows where to find you? And
sure. I run the channel Uncivil Law, where we discuss law with a bit of an edge sometimes. Cover a lot of Supreme Court cases. We cover some trials, and we cover a lot of appellate law because that's what I like the best. And right now, we're trying to do daily edited stories about legally relevant news topics, trying to give that a shot. So make sure to tune in with Uncivil Law.
And that is in the chat now for those who want to go over there and subscribe. Please do so. Go and give the man some views and some subs. And once again, thank you for keeping us sane throughout the trial.
Right.
Hope we can join you with the next trial. What is the next trial? Everyone was going to go with the Coburger, but I don't think that's
probably Kamala Anthony in January, I would imagine. It's probably the next trial.
Right. So we'll see what you guys cover next, that we're all on the same page. And we might do some more mashups. But I still haven't done pretty much all of Karen Reid trial 2.0 mashups. I'm still catching up with those. I did purposely hold a lot of it off so that we had some material to watch and enjoy after the trial. So I'm only up to, I think, Jen McCabe's testimony right now. So so you may well appear in more mashups, Kurt.
Yeah.
It does help the channels that actually were doing the actual live stream, like watching the trial. Some of the channels were just doing recaps of the trial. They're harder to fit into the mashups, basically. So, but you actually did watch the trial, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Very often, these trials do get to you after a while, man. Like so many weeks in, it can get pretty brutal after a while.
Yeah, it was brutal for me.
I'm happy to not like jump into a new trial right away. I need a break.
Right. I took a month off myself, so this is kind of my first.
Has it been a month?
I think it's like my first 2 streams since the trial finished. Because I really need. I neglected everything for 6 weeks, wasn't it? I can't remember how many weeks.
Was it? I don't know. It seemed like an eternity. I don't remember.
My car stopped working and sprung a leak, and my friggin' garden took over the balcony, and I had stuff going on everywhere. But anyway, I'm on top of it again now. So yeah, please come back and talk with us again, Kurt, very soon. We would much appreciate it. And thank you for answering all our law questions today.
No problem. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, boys and girls. That's it for today. Let's do, which we know I forgot to do yesterday. So let's not forget to do it today. But let's do an outro. Let's do an outro tune. What shall we go with today for an outro tune? Let's go with the ducky one. I really like the duck tune. Do you guys like the duck tune? Oh, right. That's right. I did. So it's not really my neighbor, but it was in town a little ways away. We still don't know anything about it. The cops haven't said anything about it. And the best we can tell is someone died. They haven't told us much about it, so no idea. Forgot that I did that to you. Good on me. Thank you for that, Karen. Much appreciated. So, let's get some music up here. Cheers to everyone for joining us. Thank you for coming and listening to us blab about things mindlessly for, I don't know, how long was it? 3 hours? Mindless blabbing. Much appreciated. The Adelson trial. Yeah, the Adelson trial might be an interesting one. I'm definitely going to be covering the Barry Morphew trial, but it looks like the defense is making motions to keep the media out, so it might not be televised. So that will be a bummer if it isn't. So enjoy the music, guys, and I will catch you all on the next one. So the next one is going to be Andrea, unless TB chimes in soon between now and Andrea. But Andrea is the next one. So look in the live stream area for Andrea's 20, what, I don't even know what date, 20. You'll get your local time if you go look at it in my live stream page. So yes, I hope so too. Fingers crossed. We'll see how we go. All right, guys. Enjoy the music, and I shall see you on the next one. Bye.
The Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
Judge's gavel slams to seat. Lawyers dance, twist up their seat. Finger points truth in the air. Crime scene chalk, we got there. Witness falls under the glare. Truth lies hidden, but where? Evidence in shadow cracks. Guilty walks with ducks in packs. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. If it cracks with a smack and waddles in the track, it's stuck. It circles round the facts, can't hide from the luck. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. Twist the tail, they change their tune. Photos snapped under the moon. Bloody prints and muddy paths. Money trails that never last. Defendant's face behind a mask. Justice chained up to the past. Solitary cell they spin. Real truth trapped deep within. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. If it cracks with a smack and waddles in the track, it's stuck. It circles round the facts, can't hide from the luck. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.